Good, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our call today. I am super excited to be able to host today because I think it's something everybody needs, right? Is how to break the mold, especially in this market. Before we jump right into the topic, I wanted to talk a little bit about myself, your host, so you guys know where this source is even coming from. Before I got into real estate, I was in orthodontics. I was a director of business and development for an orthodontic company in New York. If you don't know what orthodontics is, simple. It's braces, it's Invisalign, it's anything to straighten out your teeth. And basically, it was a fancy term for me teaching those in sales. I was building new offices and obviously marketing them as well. The reason I got into real estate is because I was living with my parents. This was like 7 years ago. I was living with my parents, and I started making decent money, and I was like, it's about that time for me to move out, right? And so I was like, let me find an apartment I could rent. Apartments were $2,000, $2,500, $2,800, and I'm like, man, it's probably the same amount to just buy a house in Jersey. And so guess what? I searched it up, and that's exactly what I saw. So I looked at the houses, I spoke with the lender, I found out what I needed to do, right? And so I took a whole year where I didn't eat out, right? I didn't buy clothes. We made a sacrifice for a whole year, and I was able to save up $30,000. It was by grinding. I was able to save $30,000 and buy myself a duplex, buy myself a multifamily house. you know. And at that moment, as I saw, me being able to pay, my mortgage was $3,200, and I only had to pay $1,200 because my other side was rented. I was like, wait a second, there's something here. There's something truly here. So I bought another house 3 years later in Vero Beach, Florida, because I had plans to move down to Florida. It was a 3-family. And guys, let me tell you, it's prosperous. It was prosperous, and it was a motivation for me. And that's what helped me want to be a real estate agent now and go full time, which is why I moved down here and went into real estate full time, because I want to help everyone I can be able to do that. A lot of people don't know that. And that's actually what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about breaking the mold, how to get sales by being creative, right? And when we talk about creativity, guys, we're not having to talk about reinventing the wheel. It's about sometimes just our approach. At this time, you guys probably already know there's about 2 million real estate agents in the United States right now. So why would someone choose you? And yes, we're going to be talking about the representing the buyer's side of things today. And you guys all heard the news, and you guys might be a little nervous. But before you guys get nervous, guys, you can't sell anything unless there's someone on the other side trying to buy. Okay? You cannot sell without a buyer at the other end. And this is why we're talking about helping buyers out there today. So why would somebody choose you? What makes you so special? I'm going to make this a little bit interactive. Okay, guys, I'm going to make this a little bit interactive. So I'm going to ask you guys some questions, and hopefully you guys can talk depending on if you guys are driving or whatever you guys are doing. So the first question I have for you guys is, what is the reputation that most real estate agents have? Go ahead and unmute yourselves. What is the reputation that the majority of realtors have? What is our reputation, guys?
Sales.
It's sales, right? It's sales. Some people might even go off a little. Anybody else have something to say? I saw a couple people unmuting themselves.
Overpaid.
Yes, I just want to make
Overpaid.
We're overpaid for sales. Some people might even go over the top and say we're sleazy salespeople, right? Look, however you want to call it, it's typically not a good reputation that we have, okay? And why is that? Guys, no one likes to be sold to. We like to buy, but we don't like to be sold to. If you guys are nodding your heads, oh, I like to be sold to. You guys are liars, okay? No one likes to be sold to. And how do I know this? Because all of us get this weird phone call from insurance agents trying to buy us, or allow us to buy us insurance. And what do? We either hang up on them, unfortunately, or we block their number at this point because it's just ridiculous, right? If you guys are still going into the mall, going into Macy's, what happens when you walk into Macy's? You have like 5 different people trying to push you to buy perfume, right? So no one likes to be sold to. So as real estate agents, what is it that we do? What is the value that we bring? Answer that question for me. What is it that we do differently? What is the value that we bring? What is it?
Expertise in the industry, in the field.
Okay, you should get so fancy on me, right? Expertise on the real estate field. Anyone else?
Negotiation skills.
Negotiation skills. Anyone else? Anyone else? If you guys remember carefully, guys, we bring knowledge to the table, right? The value that we bring is our knowledge. And some of you guys say, I'm new into the business, what am I going to bring to the table? Guys, let me tell you this right now. The things that we think that we know, that everybody should know, you will be shocked to find out people just don't know. We assume that people know, but they quite honestly don't know. So how can we get creative on being able to teach these people? Well, let me ask you guys this question. Did you know that 36% of the US population does not own their own home? Did you guys know that? 36% of the people? The question is why? I'm going to ask you guys, what do you guys think that 36% of the US population does not own their own home? Why is that?
Oh, it's because of knowledge. Their fear of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown. That's a big one, Rob. That's a big one. Anybody else? What do you guys think? When you ask someone, hey, why don't you own your own home? What are they telling you guys?
They think it's too much money.
Too much money. What else?
Misconception.
Bad credit.
Bad credit. Somebody else.
Generational curse.
Generational curse. Okay, right? Maybe you're talking about your background, right? Maybe, where you grew up, your parents didn't have a lot of money. Sure, right? And all of you guys are correct. But I think Rob hit it right off right off in the beginning, right? Which is they just don't have the knowledge. They don't have the knowledge. There's a misconception of what you need in order to buy a home. And us as experts, right? We should be helping those people find out what it is they need to do, literally hand holding them to get there. But you guys ask me, how do we do that? There's the obvious, right? We have social media that we can sit there and try to teach people, right? How to purchase, and that definitely works, right? But did you guys know, on average, we interact with 12 people a day. On a weekly basis, that's 84 people a week. On a monthly basis, and I wrote this down because I don't want to screw this up for you guys, right? 336 people a month, 4,368 people a year. So when we talk about, I don't have any leads, I don't have anyone to talk to, are we asking ourselves the right question? Because let me tell you guys, everyone needs a place to live. Everyone needs a place to live. What are we doing with our interactions with the people? What are we doing with it, right? Are we being purposeful with those interactions? It's a real question. And maybe you guys are a little bit more timid and don't want to talk to everyone you guys see, but we should still be making a purposeful situation out of every interaction that we have with people. And we want to talk about creativity. What are some things that we could do to actually be in front of a crowd of people and teach them? Sure, we can host seminars, right, about home buying. But isn't that something that we see constantly, home buying seminars? What makes us different? How about those people that don't have enough funds for a down payment? Do they know about the down payment assistance programs? Did you know that a lot of people don't know that you can have up to 4 people on a mortgage? Right? So the question is, are we taking our time to teach them? One thing that I've done that has actually benefited me a ton is I've gone to local offices, right? Medical offices, healthcare offices. It could be any type of offices. and say, hey, what time do you guys typically have lunch? I would love to host a luncheon for you guys, a lunch and learn, if you will, right? Where I take about 30 minutes of their time and teach them about things that they probably didn't know. When Hometown Heroes was around, I would teach them about the fact that, hey, because you're in the healthcare field, you can actually be benefiting from the Hometown Heroes program, right? But even without Hometown Heroes, there is a ton of things that are out there to help people buy homes. Okay, so if you've never done that, try it. And I'm going to go a little further than that, because you guys are probably thinking, I don't have enough money to buy lunch for these people. I don't have enough money to buy lunch for myself. Guys, what I did is I teamed up with a lender. Because when I went to host these meetings, I didn't even do most of the talking, because remember, that is the financial aspect of things. Bring a lender that you trust. Bring a lender that you know gets creative, right? Like, we'll get creative, right? And let's have them talk about those things that these people can do to actually buy homes. Guys, we need to do something different. We can't continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, right? That's called insanity. So we have to change the things that we do. What else can we do? Guys, everyone in their local community has maybe a community center in their city, in their township, right? Have you ever tried to reach out and ask them, hey, do you mind if I host something for the community? You can even put that on Facebook group. Why don't you ask the Facebook group in your local community, hey, what would you guys like to learn about? What would you guys like to learn about? They will literally tell you what they want to see, what they want to hear. And guys, let me tell you, you will be effective. You will be effective. You know, another thing that I was thinking about when we talk about creativity is, if everybody's seen Family Feud, they typically have a panel of people that they ask random questions to, a survey. You imagine if we have a little bit of maybe we're a little timid. Imagine asking random people, hey, well, I'm just taking a survey of the first 100 people that I meet and asking them, do you rent or do you own? Guys, you would be surprised on kind of how that would work out for you guys. And you can make it as creative as possible, right? You can ask for a phone number and an email after that, right? Or you can just make it their social media page, right? But we have to break the mold. We have to be different. We have to do things that not your average agent will do. And that's extremely important. So guys, when we talk about being different, about being creative, about getting people out there, we have to do something to change. I'm going to ask everybody for a show of hands, and this is no judgment. How many of you guys own your own home? Can you guys raise your hand? How many of you guys own your own home? I'll give you guys a second. Wonderful. All right, we got a good mix of people who own their own home and those who don't. Why do I ask this question? Because remember what we're doing out here. We're trying to motivate people to do something that is going to change their life. Why haven't we done this, right? And once again, this is a no judgment zone, right? And yes, you guys are going to tell me we're 1099. Maybe the income isn't there. Maybe the credit isn't there. But remember, we're talking about pushing people out of their comfort zone. We're talking about, hey, I know you're currently renting and paying $3,000 a month, but why haven't you gone the other step and purchased the home? And we're asking other people that, but why haven't we taken that step ourselves? And once again, we have real reasons, we have real excuses, but the question is, have we actually spoken to a lender ourselves and asked them, what do I need to do to get there, right? Guys, nothing is going to hit more at home unless we actually do things ourselves, right? When I was in orthodontics, right, people would go in there and they would look at my teeth, right? Because they want to know, hey, you're over here selling braces, you're over here selling Invisalign, but your teeth, if your teeth are crooked, right, they're probably going to like question if you're the right person I should buy from, right? So the same thing goes with us, right? So obviously they can't tell if we own a home or not, but the passion that's going to come from us being able to motivate them to buy will be really helpful and beneficial. Jennifer Bolano says, after I bought my house, it helped me understand and relate to the first-time buyers much more. 100%. guys, the struggle, the roller coaster ride of emotions that you feel when buying a home is inexplicable, right? And that's the passion that you guys need to have when helping others be able to do this. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining on today. Have you guys any questions on our conversation for today? Please feel free to unmute yourselves. Any questions, any concerns, any 2 cents you guys want to add for today's conversation?
So in essence, sounds like, and just stepping in a little bit for the listing side of the house, it's still prospecting. It's just, breaking the mold is what it's, at least how I'm interpreting it, is you still prospect. Now you're just simply looking for buyers. Find different ways to be able to connect with them and be able to, find prospective clients.
Correct, guys. And we're doing it in a way, right, where we're trying not to sell per se, right? It's selling without selling. It's trying to educate them on purchasing, right? And that's the big step that I feel like a lot of us agents do, because we get in here and let's be honest, guys, we're struggling financially, right? So our immediate mindset is like, all right, how do I make the most money? Without understanding that there is an emotional part of this that we can't disconnect from, right? We need to educate these guys on what we need to do in order to help them purchase. And it's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be a W-2 job, somebody making $100,000 a year. Sometimes it's going to be maybe a family making $30,000 each, maybe even worse, right? So it's really important to understand that. We can call it indirect prospecting. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Jennifer Bolanos, first-time sellers is also a great opportunity to educate. 100%. Gigi has a hand up. Go ahead, Gigi.
Sergio, what are you doing now? Like anything new that you're like, wow, I should have been doing this?
I think when it comes to that, it's definitely going out to these offices and talking to people. But one thing that I've definitely taken consideration is making sure, and for me personally, like, everybody's different, but I love to talk to everyone and that I can. So anytime I'm in a restaurant, anytime I'm approaching anyone, it's just starting up that conversation. And then it could be something so simple like, what are you doing right now? Are you renting? Because once again, everyone needs a place to live, right? So that for me has helped a ton. I met up with somebody the other day. It was a tenant from some building. And I just asked them, hey, why didn't you buy this condo yourself? I was like, nobody asked me. Nobody had that conversation. And she happened to be a veteran, which means she really didn't have to put any money down. But once again, if we're not educating these people, they're not even going to know that that's a possibility for them, right? So I'm getting in front of people as much as I can, Gigi, and trying to educate them as much as possible. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. And these offices that you're going to, are you targeting a specific type, like doctor's office, or like, are you targeting a specific niche there?
Yeah, so I typically go to dental or ortho offices mostly because that's my background, and I know I have some similarities with it. So it's an easy conversation. And I actually got the doctor to purchase with me, and they're actually investors now, so they're going to be continuing to buy. So I mean, obviously, that there's going to be in the same office people who have a little bit more struggle to buy, and then those who are a little bit more comfortable of being able to buy. But either way, I offer them all the same option to be able to purchase, right? Because I know what it is to be on that side and maybe struggle to get there. That's a great question, Gigi. Any other questions, guys? Any other comments? If not, guys, I appreciate all of you guys for jumping on today. I truly do. Hopefully you guys were able to take some nuggets from this. If not, at least educate those around you guys in your sphere, as we call it, right? To make sure that they know that they can purchase a home.
Sergio, one more question.
Oh, go ahead, Gigi.
What do you think about the whole lawsuit with buyer commissions?
That's a great question. That's a great question. This is why I kind of commented something early on, which is everyone needs a buyer, right? All sellers who are going to sell, they need somebody on the other end trying to buy. Here's the thing. We're going to stress ourselves out too much thinking about, oh shoot, what if they shut that down? We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they're going to be able to put into our commission into the loan, right? We don't know how things are going to change, but I will know that a lot of people will struggle if that change happens. Let's just be honest, right? A lot of people will struggle. So I think knowing that and how that'll affect the economy, I don't think it'll be a simple just slice and dice. That's my personal opinion, right? Like, well, you're on your own. You know, you got to figure it out. I honestly think that there will be a way for us to be able to make our commission regardless.
Okay.
That's my 2 cents. What is your 2 cents, Gigi? What do you think?
I'm just confused about it because if my understanding is correct, up until this point, yes, you had to share your commission on the other side, but that could have been $1. You could have legally, yes, you had to split your commission, but you could have offered $1. That didn't happen. So what's going to make 0 happen? You know, so I think that even though I just don't see it happening. I mean, up until this point, the listing agent could have offered $1 and they didn't. Why? Because they know that there's value in splitting the commission because that'll bring the buyer. Why is that mindset going to change? That's my opinion. I'm just confused on that. I'm just curious to see what
Yeah,
will
no, and I appreciate you bringing that up, Gigi, because it's a fact. The way you made it is really it's so simple. I mean, right now, for sale by owners are typically giving something to a buyer's agent. In some cases, 3% to a buyer's agent. Why? Because you know that there is value from someone on the other side bringing a buyer, right? So, I mean, it's a great point that you bring this up, Gigi. Only saying it's just the fact that now you can offer 0. Sure. I mean, right now for sale by owners, if they wanted to, like, no, I don't want to pay any agent. I just want to go to an attorney, right? Oh, are you saying that?
Yeah, I'm here.
I thought somebody was.
you have to mute people. Let me see if I can.
I what I was saying is this the fact that you can offer 0? Because even with the like how you were saying, Gigi, you could offer like $1, but now offering 0 is kind of like I'm not forcing you to offer anything. So really, I think it's a smart move that they did with that, because the initial lawsuit was saying that sellers are feeling like, why do I have to pay for a buyer's commission? So even having $1 is kind of like you're still paying, but at 0 is kind of like, look, you don't have to pay anything. Stop complaining. 0. So in your case, you're probably like, I don't see that working. I don't see it working at all either. So I'm just thinking that it's just the fact that now they can offer 0 is like, okay, you can offer 0, shut up. It doesn't mean you're gonna sell your house for 0, because nobody's even selling a house for $1. But
Exactly.
just now we have the option, it's kind of like, okay, shut up, the option's there.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Think about all that energy from $1 to 0. All this energy we're spending.
I mean, worst case scenario, what I'm thinking might just end up happening is, as buyer's agents, you'd have to negotiate your commission with your client directly.
Yeah, I mean, look,
if you're ever in that 0 situation.
It's a possibility, but once again, I think based on what we're talking about, and it all makes sense. I don't see that, because honestly speaking, it's not that simple to get someone just to like go buy. I mean, we're talking about educating people because they don't even know that they can possibly buy, right? So I honestly think that we will continue to see. Will it maybe go down on the amount that they're willing to pay the buyer side? It is, but I mean, people are doing that right now. Some of them are keeping 4% and giving 2%. It's been going on for years, sometimes even less, right? Lucas, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. So, with that buyer's law that's trying to come out now, trying to give 0%. Yeah, I understand all that, but here in Orlando, let's flip it to the rental, right? So they're doing that up here in Orlando, Tampa, that the listing agent gets whatever they want. You understand? So won't that, even though it lasts a little longer, the market still rents out. So won't you think they'll still sell? That's just an opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, the truth of the matter is, I just think it's gonna, right? Because whenever they don't offer more, typically it lasts longer on the market. That's
true.
Really,
and the other thing is now we got to negotiate with the buyer, with the buyer now, asking them for a commission, asking them to put 3%, asking them to put the closing. Isn't that going to be a little bit more,
Well, I think, and that's what we're talking about. That's really a thought. It's really a theory. We don't know for a fact. Matter of fact, it hasn't even passed yet, right? So we're just talking about the fact that it could happen. But even if it does, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a way that they discuss to us how things should be going down moving forward, right? So I say let's not go into panic mode. That's my thought. Let's not go into panic mode, right? Because at the end of the day, we're going to do what we got to do, right? To George's point, we mentioned about a couple of weeks ago, is making sure we get more listings on our side. But once again, they still need buyers. Jennifer Valano says the seller will probably only want to pay the 3%, and then we have to split that with buyer's agents. It's possible. We might be seeing less coming home as the buyer's agent. It is possible. Somebody says we have to educate sellers is the most beneficial path. Yeah, and guys, we've been doing that since forever. What happens when we talk for sale by owner, right? Isn't that what we're doing? We're educating them as to why use an agent. Once again, it's not about selling ourselves, right? Because how many agents are calling that same person? It's about educating them as to why using an agent is a better option. That's it.
And also the times too. So we have agents dropping by the wayside just because it's difficult. It's not 2021 anymore. And so the A players are staying, right? The A players, the ones that know how to do this business, are still here. And A players know their value, and they don't work for less than 3%. Whenever I have a higher end listing, I notice that when I charge that 5% and I split it between 2.5 and 2.5, I'll get those calls from realtors. Hey, so-and-so, and they're very reputable, but I won't do it for less than 3. That's what I'll hear that often. And I think that those agents are the ones that are going to stick. So that's also something to consider, because, in my listing appointments, if one of the negotiations for me when it comes to commission is that it affects the marketing of your home, because the A players are not going to show your home if there's 3 other homes offering them fair commission. So it affects the marketing of the home in addition to that. So that's something else to consider.
100%. And that's why it's super important, guys, to be able to distinguish who we are, right? Because it's not so simple to say, hey, I'm the greatest agent, right? I'm super special. What does that even mean? Right? What does that even mean? We're going to have to show them, right? And the easiest way to show them is educating them on what it is that we know and how there is a real difference between someone who knows what they're talking about and someone who says they know what they're talking about. Guys, with that said, we're going to be ending the call now. I appreciate you guys all attending. I appreciate you guys all. Oh, one last person said, Ellie said, we need to, and have no choice, keep it moving and not let fear of this happening take over our thought patterns, because then it will throw us into a negative mindset. And that is one heck of a way to end this call. Thank you, all of you guys, for joining. Take care now.
Thank you, Sergio.
You're
Good
welcome,
job,
guys.
buddy.